What if the neighborhood tyrant who slaps fines on every blade of grass longer than regulation suddenly decided your garage was her personal 5-star nap suite? What if the same woman preaching community harmony at every meeting rolled her luxury sedan straight into your sanctuary, killed the engine, and dozed off like she owned the deed? And what if that one entitled power nap collided with two Rottweilers who don't read bylaws and deliver justice through a hurricane of sneezes, screams, and shattered dignity? Picture this. Suburban cul-de-sac, white picket fences, kids on bikes, the whole Instagram perfect illusion. Except underneath it all lurks the homeowners association. Those invisible chains dressed up as guidelines. I'm Mark, 47, software guy who works from home, and just wants one corner of the world where nobody tells me my toolbox is 2 inches too far left. That corner was my garage, stocked with cold ones, old radio humming classic rock. My escape pod from the outside world. Until Karen crowned herself HOA president. It started innocently enough. It's where 5 people show up and suddenly one woman holds the clipboard of doom. Karen didn't just enforce rules, she worshipped them. For the good of the community, she'd coo in that syrupy voice while her eyes scanned for victims. Your mailbox 2 degrees off plumb? Violation. American flag flown on a Tuesday instead of only holidays? Another notice with a photo attached like she was the neighborhood paparazzi. The Johnsons got cited because their kids' chalk drawing on the driveway was visual clutter. Mrs. Ramirez down the block was threatened with a fine for hanging wind chimes that allegedly disturbed the aesthetic harmony. Karen loved every second of it. Flats. Clipboard swinging like a medieval mace. Lips pursed in permanent disapproval. I stayed quiet at first. Like a surgeon, paid my dues early. I'm not the rebel type. But when she started treating everyone's driveways like overflow parking for her ego, the slow burn began. First it was her sedan creeping across the edge of my property during meetings. Then half the car. I politely asked her to move. She flashed that fake neighbor smile. Oh Mark, we're all family here. Sharing is caring. Sharing apparently meant I got trapped while she got free VIP spots. The day she parked sideways across my driveway while I had a Zoom call in 10 minutes, I finally snapped. I rang her doorbell, glued to ear. Karen moved the damn car. She sighed like I was the unreasonable one. I'm HOA president, Mark. We control towing contracts, remember? The threat hung there like smog. That was the moment I started watching. Quietly. Because guys like me don't explode, we calculate. The garage stayed my fortress. Cam just to protect the tools. For a few weeks things cooled. Maybe she'd found fresh victims. I let myself relax. That evening I pulled in after a 12-hour coding marathon. Remote in hand, dreaming of cold beer and zero Karen energy. Garage door glides up slow and smooth and there it is. Her gold sedan parked dead center like she'd parallel parked in a showroom. Engine running, AC humming. Karen herself reclined in the driver's seat. Visor still on, mouth slightly open, completely passed out. Not blocking the entrance inside. Fully inside. Been upgraded to her private rest area. I sat in my truck staring for a solid 10 seconds while my brain tried to reboot. This wasn't a mistake. She'd pulled in, straightened up perfectly between my workbench and tool chest, killed the lights, and napped like a queen after a hard day of oppressing the peasants. The sheer arrogance hit me like a truck. I got out slowly, walked up, knocked on the window. Nothing. Still snoring softly. Third knock, the kind you use on teenagers who sleep through alarms. Karen didn't twitch. Nervous had exhausted her. It had knocked her cold. That's when the calm settled in. I hit the garage door button. Died. Interior house door? Locked. Perfect. Sharp low. 2 sets of heavy paws thundered across the kitchen tile. Thor and Loki, my Rottweilers, appeared like black and tan tanks with hearts of gold and zero tolerance for trespassers. Boys, I whispered. We have an uninvited guest who thinks rules only apply to everyone else. Their ears perked. Their excitement. Thor shifted into full guard mode. I cracked the interior garage door. Their noses lifted, catching the stranger scent immediately. They padded forward, nails clicking on concrete, and planted themselves right in front of the driver's window, 200 pounds of muscle and judgment staring straight at Karen's sleeping face. She stirred. Sideways. Eyelids fluttered, open and locked on Thor's unblinking stare. The transformation was instant and glorious. Mouth fell open in a silent scream. Body jerked so hard she slammed her elbow into the horn. The blare echoed inside the closed garage like a horror movie soundtrack. She scrambled backward, purse strap tangling her legs, half climbing into the back seat while flailing like a cartoon character tossed in a dryer. What are those?" she shrieked through the glass. I leaned casually on the hood, arms crossed. "Morning, Karen. Hard to tell when you're napping in someone else's property." Her face went from sleepy to sheet white to beet red in record time. "Let me out. This is illegal." Another scream as Loki pressed his wet nose to the window. Tail wagging like this was the best game ever. I smiled, slow, polite. Rules. As HOA president, you're always reminding us about trespassing, aren't you? No unauthorized use of private spaces. Your words, not mine. She fumbled for the door handle, locked. Garage door closed. Trapped with two dogs who looked like they could bench press her sedan. Perfect. Then the first sneeze hit. Body. Visor flew off completely. Second sneeze, third, each one louder, wetter, more pathetic. Karen wasn't just scared. Spectacularly, comically allergic. "Oh God, I can't chew. Breathe," she wheezed between explosions. Makeup streamed down her face in black rivers. Hair escaped its perfect bun. Sneezing. Flailing mess in under 90 seconds. Loki tilted his head, concerned and confused. Thor just sat there stoic, like a bouncer watching a drunk realize she picked the wrong club. I didn't yell. I simply waited while she clawed at the steering wheel and begged between sneezes. "Please, chew. Open the door. I'm sorry, I didn't mean." Another hurricane sneeze cut her off. I finally spoke, voice calm as Sunday morning. "Sorry for what exactly, Karen? For parking in my garage like it's your personal lounge? For years of fining people over nothing while you treat property lines like suggestions? Or for thinking the rules you love so much magically don't apply to you?" She nodded frantically, tears and snot mixing. "All of it. Just chew. Let me out." I let the silence stretch one more delicious second, then hit the door button. Fresh air rushed in. Backed out shaking so badly it took 4 tries to shift into reverse. Halfway down the driveway she slammed the brakes, lowered the window just enough to croak "I'm sorry" through another sneeze, then sped off weaving like a drunk driver. I scratched Thor and Loki behind the ears. Good boys. The garage felt mine again. Peaceful. But I knew Karen. Parents rarely stick without consequences. 2 days of blessed silence followed. No patrols. The neighborhood exhaled. Mrs. Her wind chimes proudly. Even the Johnsons risked a garden gnome. Then the email arrived. Updated HOA guidelines, garage and driveway respect policy. Effective immediately. No official or resident may enter another's garage or driveway without explicit permission. Violation subject to board review. She'd written a rule banning exactly what she'd done. Glorious. Personal property, including pets, must be respected at all times. No mention of dogs, but everyone knew. The cul-de-sac buzzed with whispers. Rumors flew. Screaming from my garage, Karen sprinting home sneezing the whole way. Nobody knew the truth except me, Thor, and Loki. I figured that was the end. Updated, boundaries restored. Wrong. A week later she showed up at my driveway again, sunglasses on despite cloudy skies, Posture stiff but clipboard free. Mark, can we talk? Voice quiet. Almost human. Again, this time without sneezes, admitting she'd overstepped for years, that the power had gone to her head. She even offered to let me file a formal complaint against her with the board. I told her I didn't want drama, just respect. She nodded, looked almost relieved, then power walked away before Loki could appear. Peace lasted exactly 11 days. Then the anonymous inspector appeared, tall guy in dark clothes, clipboard and flashlight, creeping at night, taking notes on houses. Neighbors started panicking. Me for help. Someone's trying to make me look bad again, she whispered at my door. I'd seen the guy too. Too coordinated. That night I caught him. I confronted him under the streetlight. He claimed he was hired anonymously to document security concerns. Cash in an envelope. Classic setup. But not before I snapped a clear photo on my phone. Next morning Karen and I compared notes. She'd received the same anonymous emails. So had the ambitious vice president, Brandon Smarmy, always pushing modernization. The pieces clicked. Brandon had hired the fake inspector to stir panic, frame Karen, and seize the presidency, so he could push through changes that conveniently benefited a shady developer eyeing the neighborhood for condos. Classic power grab dressed as progress. We didn't confront him angrily. Recorded everything on the garage cam. Karen called an emergency board meeting. When Brandon showed up with his usual clipboard swagger, I played the footage. The room went dead silent. Read the new evidence aloud. Brandon's face drained of color. The board voted him out on the spot. The fake inspector turned out to be a low-rent PI who spilled everything for a reduced fine. Karen stood there afterward, humbled in front of the entire street. No visor. Just a woman who finally understood that power without respect collapses like a house of cards. She thanked me quietly. When everyone follows the same rules, including presidents. Thor and Loki got extra treats that night. The cul-de-sac returned to normal. Better than normal. Kids played. Were we damn well pleased. And for the first time in years, nobody patrolled with fear in their eyes. Look folks, HOA Karens aren't born, they're made by unchecked little empires. But every tyrant eventually meets a boundary they can't bully. Sometimes that boundary has teeth, fur, and a severe allergy trigger. Stay patient, document everything, and remember, real community isn't enforced by clipboards. It's protected by people who refuse to let power turn neighbors into enemies.